Okay, so we're gonna call this meeting to order at 6:04, is that clock right? 6:04.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll start with any changes or additions to the agenda? No? Okay, all budget, all the way?
Pretty much.
Okay, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes of December 5th, 2023.
I'll move.
Beth has a second. Okay, okay, is there any discussion? Again, I want to thank Leanne for very concise, easy to read minutes. Okay, so we'll move to a vote, and since Hannah's remote, we'll go roll call. So Colleen.
Aye.
Beth.
Aye.
Hannah.
Aye.
And I abstain. So, because I was not here. Because I don't approve. Okay, so that was 3-0 with 1 abstention. Okay, public participation. I don't know what happened to 2023. Okay, well, we are chugging right along.
Check and check.
Check and check. Okay, so we're on to the administrative report.
All right. Sure. I can do that. Yep. And this is a quick one. There's not much to this, and then we'll get into kind of where we're at. Band concert just shortly before break. It really, I didn't even know how many people were there, but the gym was packed in the best way. It was amazing. We had some fun kind of spirit type days before, a pajama day, an ugly sweater day, and just had some fun before we went off to break. So I wanted to include winter activity numbers for you all. So we've got 136 that chose skiing, 44 swimming, 15, floor hockey is 9, basketball 7, and theater is 6. And we have tweaked how we're doing this slightly for some of the ones that are in-house. So we noticed that with the exception of skiing, swimming, and bowling, because they're outside and people leave, that takes the whole afternoon time. But for the ones that are located here, we noticed that, hour-ish, a little over an hour in, kids are starting to get a little antsy. So then what we've decided to do, with a great suggestion of one of our primary teachers, is kind of split it in half. So students are able to choose like something for the first hour or so, and this thing different for the second hour.
Why? Like, it sounds like if they're getting bored after an hour, maybe the choice to stay here is,
Maybe everyone needs to go.
well, yeah, maybe it is something that they really like, but because it's in the building, after an hour it gets old.
I think that's it, because all of the period of time, they're just ready to do something different.
Yeah, that makes
How long
sense.
can you play basketball?
Right, yeah, like, do you really wanna play basketball with, 7 kids for 2.5 hours, that kind of a thing.
I can see that.
And West, I will hand it over to you.
Okay, awesome. Wait, did I not put them in order?
One over 12, is that the
okay,
next one?
yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, so December, yay. I was kind of on the nose, but I thought the theme of the month was holiday spirit. Just because everyone, especially because there was no snow, we were all having to hold on to the hope of good holidays. General news, middle school had kind of like a party-ish last day of break. That was a lot of fun. We had like a dance kind of thing. We had a fashion show that I've, in my whole time at Hartland, never seen go that well. Everyone just had so much fun. And then there was lots of different colds and stuff. Everything.
Still going.
What I heard was everything, like, we all pushed through, and everything was issues with people missing, but
I know, so sad.
but everything went really well, and it was lots of fun. And I think the 4th grade band has never been that big, like, ever.
Yeah.
Largest trombone section ever.
Yeah.
My daughter, one of them. She's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's There's 26 in the 4th grade, and I think out of the 26 of them, I think 20 of them are playing. Like,
Yeah.
they're all
Awesome.
like, they're adorable. They're the cutest
Yeah.
group, I think. Something else.
Yeah. So I did 6th grade report, and the day I did the survey, I think half of them were out sick. So the question,
Back to
the
the
pool
previous
was a
slide.
little bit smaller. So the projects, we're doing a trifold project in one of our ELA classes on books that we read in our other ELA class. So very nicely, paired together. What went best in December? I know it's a shocker that these are the questions, but I just thought, see individually grades. Lots of people said projects and being able to get a lot of things done, which I think is, from what I've heard, it seems like the whole school kind of. What I'm most looking forward to, winter activities was definitely the big thing. And if you had to choose one word, it was fun and cold, which seems to line up very well with November's words. But warm and rain.
Yeah.
What was it?
And a little
Fun,
too
cold,
warm.
and rainy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
pass around some chocolates.
Ooh.
My mom's like the chocolate master. So just open it up.
Thank you.
Grab some chocolate. If you're allergic to nuts or anything else, don't touch it.
Thank you.
And some upcoming events, winter activities, speaking of West, begin not tomorrow,
Wednesday.
but next Wednesday. I'll put an announcement in the Wildcat Weekly right at the top, just reminding people that it starts next Wednesday. That the 16th is a no school with an in-service day. And one event where we are going to have a Vins, it's a Raptor, right? It's a Raptor from Vins that's going to be here. Fun, lots of fun things, all related to books and reading. It's going to be great.
Can you describe what this is? Because it's K through 3, but like, what is this?
So it's definitely a parent night. We're gonna have an entire session just for parents. We'll have tents and things set up in the back for our upper graders to be reading to our little kids that are in the tents. And they'll be doing these great read alouds. And then it's a parent presentation of how to promote literacy in your home. And then we'll have bins. So we're gonna have a canoe out in the gym where people can fish for nonfiction books and take them home. We're gonna have an entire forest for families to walk through with their students and learn about animals, and there'll be like a make and take. And then we're gonna have a camping dinner that people can purchase if they would like for their family, which will be a hot dog and juice or water, and the whole thing's very themey.
Is there
I'm
a
so excited.
campfire and are there s'mores?
And there are, we're doing kind of a s'more, so we're gonna have a fake campfire out on the slate foyer with camp songs by Mr. Foley, so everyone's gonna be able to join and sing, and then we'll have s'more baggies with like cinnamon toast crunch and marshmallow fire, and it's a great night. And it's geared towards K3, just to how to really promote literacy at home and get kids excited about reading.
Okay, are older kids allowed to go? Like if my
Yes,
fourth grade.
yes. So if you had a 4th grader because you have another child that's a 1st grader, absolutely.
Okay,
Yes, yeah. But it's geared towards our little ones, and then we'll have all of our middle schoolers helping assist in every section and getting their hours in as well, and just supporting all of our littles because we're a family. That's how we do it.
So we have an idea for a fake campfire.
There we go.
Love it.
Yep.
Got some experience there.
There we go. So it'll be a really good time. And then Christine.
Yep, my December report is linked, I'm just gonna give you a couple highlights. One is, we did our Southeast Superintendents, meet about things that are impacting schools, and we share information with them. So we had our breakfast on the 8th, it went really well. We have great representatives, they listen, they understand. So the things just overall that we talked about, as a region, we're really excited about predates me. It was in the works under the Springfield superintendent who left.
Oh, McLaughlin?
Yeah, Zach McLaughlin. It was his charge, but he got the rest of the superintendents on board. I happen to be on the board for the collaborative. We have, I think a lot of districts use some ESSER funds to get it up and running. We've hired a director, we're offering professional development. Kim, who is the director, she is really working hard to develop relationships with agencies and individuals so that we can go to the collaborative to help us fill our staff shortages in particular areas, especially speech and language, OT. So we're up and running, we're very excited about that, which here the whole state is really, and supporting the science of reading, which is, somebody said, wasn't that around like 25 years ago? I'm like, yeah, this war, reading war has been going on for a long time. But we know that kids need systematic, explicit reading instruction, especially around phonics, and so we're supporting that. So those were just positive things we talked about. We covered building aid. As you know, all the schools in the state have been assessed, and we have received our assessment, so Larry's gonna summarize those and come to a future board meeting and share out. I don't feel like there were many surprises in ours, but some districts report that there were either, they were way off in what the report listed as needs or things that weren't necessary. There was also a report from the Career and Tech Education. We have a tech, and Scott Farr is the superintendent there, and he talked about the needs of career and tech ed. And then the other concerns, which are ongoing: hiring and retention of professionals, mental health, and the impact of the ESSER funding cliff, which is here, which leads me to my next slide, which is here. So we, Larry and I just recently attended a Vermont School Board and Vermont Superintendent Association training, which they haven't done before, but they're going to plan to continue these in the future. And the theme was effective practices in school district fiscal planning and management, and it was really about planning for future. For Larry and most of the superintendents there was creating staffing rules, and when you have staffing rules in place, when you have to make some hard decisions, it makes it takes the personal nature out of it. So in terms of staffing rules, an example would be, and we don't have many in place in this SU, but we do have class size. So our class sizes for K3 are under 20, and above that, under 25. So Larry's gonna work with the principals this spring. We'll come back to you, but I think it won't impact this year, but in the future, I think it's gonna be important that we have those rules in place. So things like that. So we'll come back to you with more on that. And that, the last slide I have is the quarterly report. It is in the portal. It is linked here as well. If you click on it, Lindsay, I don't want you to panic. You will see that if you go down to the last page. Of course, I can't see it myself.
I'll have to share the screen.
So you will see that all the revenues have not come in yet, which is why, let's see, look down to the very last page, you'll see a deficit, and that is because we just haven't, all the revenue hasn't come in yet. So Larry says don't panic, it's just that it hasn't come in yet. But if
But he's encumbered everything, so that makes sense.
Yep. And did I tell you he's written code where he just, I can't explain it, but he's written code, so he just presses a button and these quarterly reports come out. It takes him all of 30 seconds now to do them, which is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And he's really good about getting them out and putting them in the portal, so happy to answer questions about that, if you have any. And I think
That's the end of it.
that's the end of that.
Yep.
We can move on to the budget.
Christine, was there questions at the superintendent thing about sort of like budget and like what the state of Vermont and how they're handling sort of this?
At that workshop we were at?
Yes.
Yeah, but it works. Which there was the person in charge of all that, Brad James, who's just retired. He was there with his replacement, I can't remember her name. And they really talked through that process with us. So I left with a better understanding of how it works, but didn't get into,
How this is affecting,
well, a little bit. It depends on, and we'll get into this, it depends on the new weights, right? We're using long-term weighted averages now, which is gonna benefit some schools,
Yep.
and it's not gonna benefit others. And I think all the schools
Sounds like we're in the latter half.
we are, so far, and we don't have all the information yet, but at this point, it looks good for all of our schools.
got it. And also, when you were talking with the representatives, like our state
Yeah.
representatives, did that come up there as well? Like, were superintendents talking about
The
budgets?
funding?
Yeah, the funding.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, implemented, so we've been gearing up for it. But I think the thinking is it's gonna change.
Yeah.
So we have this new process in place where if your per student cost is less than a 10% increase, we don't know.
Got it. And also with the buildings, because I know that so many schools in Vermont need new buildings.
Yep.
And a lot of towns are shooting them down because it's so
Right.
expensive because of the way the tax system works and who actually pays for a new school.
Right.
Was that spoken about?
Yep, it was actually, well, Sherry wasn't there, 'cause that was her topic to
Yeah.
cover, but she couldn't make it, a family emergency. So, it was discussed, how is the state gonna step in and help
Yeah.
pay for these buildings that are falling
Paying
apart?
10%,
Yeah,
20%?
but nobody has an answer.
Okay.
It really, and there were a couple on the ed committee
Yep.
that were there, so that was beneficial as well for us.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice, I mean, I went last year, but I presented a little bit. This year I was more involved. And it is a really nice relationship, and you get to know really nice.
Yeah.
So,
So then in terms of the budget, we still don't have all of the numbers and the information, so, but the one question that I think Christine, if I'm incorrect, just correct me, is, right now, we are approximately $90,000 over the 10% max cap. So I guess the question, as Ed gets those numbers, and I think it'd be safe to say that we will have it with a few budget versions.
you received that, right, Nikki?
No, I
Yeah.
Okay.
So he has everything but the common level of appraisal, and that could impact a little bit. But thinking what the estimate is right now is pretty good, and it is a little bit over the 10%. So you're gonna have to reduce the budget by $90,000 to stay under the 10% increase per student, which will cap your tax rate at 5%.
And if we say, no, we can't cut this,
If you can't cut,
this is what we stand by.
then you'll have to defend it to a committee
Mhm.
of 6 people, 3 superintendents and 3 from the agency, I wanna say. And you'll have to defend it. And then if you succeed in your argument, you have a good enough case, and they say, okay, then you'll receive the cap. If you don't, you lose the cap for the next 5 years.
And then it could be whatever.
Right.
Oh,
I mean, I think,
percent.
I think you should try to stay under the 10%.
And I think it's important to note that within that 90,000, over that 10% is the entire playground is still
I was
built
gonna
within
ask
there.
about that
So
playground.
that is currently there, so in terms of what, maybe some direction from you all of what you would like Ed and I to come back to you with on the
So
17th.
which scenario, for those of us that
Yeah,
haven't caught up on the meetings yet, which scenario are we talking about?
This is this is the scenario where everything is in the budget.
Mhm.
Everything.
That includes like the $2,000.
Yes, better.
it's better.
What, okay.
That's
Lindsay
very nice.
Perkins, can I ask a few questions? One, as someone whose family, I sent Alina Martez a text of all of my family in front of the playground in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, where the front cover of your thing, I'll have to show
Wait, it's in
you.
Lewisburg?
That my husband's view, that's where Play World is. It's
Yeah.
right there. So anyway, so I took.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So that's literally the front cover of.
Wait, share, because I have to see Lewisburg.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
Yes, I will happily show it to you since
very
you're not
cool,
on my
yes.
texting thing. But anyways, so like this is the front cover of
Oh, wow.
the playground that they
Wow.
show on
Can you
Playworld.
see this, Hannah?
Wow.
So I'll send it to all of you guys. But what I was gonna say last time we were here, the man, AKA the town manager, right?
Yep.
Okay. Who sat there.
Martin.
Yes, Martin, thank you, I couldn't remember his name. The man is what happened. As he spoke, and he was like, well, when we decided to do the building fund, what is that? The capital reserve. He was like, that's meant to be, like, that should be there. And so I remember him saying, and hopefully I'm getting this right, that, like the money that we have, cause we've got a little bit of an overage from this year. He was like, put that in the capital fund or the capital reserve, and then pay for the playground, $260,000.
So we can't use that overage until.
That overage is from the surplus from FY '23, and applied that to your budget.
Okay.
So if you take
So it's
some.
used, you can only use it once.
Yeah, but it's your decision, you could take some of that and put it in the capital reserve account,
But then we'd have to cut more than 90.
then you'd have to cut
Yeah.
more than 90, yeah.
And there's like a little bit of me that feels like if the entire playground's in there, could we take out whatever our overage was, put that in the capital reserve and pay for the playground, and we'd still be.
But then,
we'd have to have time to cut like a teacher.
I thought Martin was saying he thought that the capital reserve was set up to cover emergencies, like your roof fails and you need a new roof, or your boiler goes, and then.
but we can't use the capital reserve without a vote.
You
So
can't
we
use it
can't
without a
use
vote.
it for emergencies.
Right.
Yeah, so I heard him say more things like,
I think it's an appropriate usage of those funds. It's just like, how much would we want to use of those?
how much, do we know how much the overage is?
You have to reduce the budget by $90,000.
Yes,
Right,
What
no,
is-
how much did we
Oh, the
save
surplus?
Yes, how
last
much what's the surplus?
I think it was 200 and something.
Because how much is the,
From
play-
FY
so
'23?
I feel like we're still in the same ballpark, but we're at least using the right funds.
So
Makes it,
yeah, I hear what you're saying.
and that way we don't have new playground. So,
And, I mean, we're still applying for grants
Yeah.
too. There's one from the state of Vermont that I submitted shortly before break.
Yeah.
But, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
How any of that will shake out. So there's that possibility, but it's just a possibility.
so. That was just,
I want to say it was in the 200s. Do you remember differently?
and the playground was
Something
what,
around like
200?
200s.
Is that in the budget spreadsheet that you guys sent?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to pull up.
Yeah.
Somewhere between 230 and 260, something like that, I think.
We didn't use. Gotcha. So like, so.
So if you put
everyone
it,
has a budget
if you-
line and
if
we
you
use
put it to
them.
capital reserve, you're still gonna have to get a vote on town meeting day to approve those funds to
Yeah.
be used for a playground.
Got
It's a separate article.
I don't know this about this town, but like, what's more favorable for a town, like, to have, like, what would get this playground passed, I guess? Is it to have something on the side, like the capital reserve, or is it like, just put in the budget and, in the school budget? Or is the school budget gonna get voted down because they're like, we don't wanna have to pay for a new playground, especially if you've got money in the capital reserve? Like, I don't know how people feel about things.
I don't know if we know.
Who can put up their little crystal ball?
Oh, no, you're here.
Be a little different, because if we're over the 10%
Yeah.
increase, I think that will be very unappealing to the town, and it's going to require like a real pitch. Whereas, so it seems to me that this year in particular, staying under that round would probably be the most favorable to avoid the risk of having to go to committee and having the tax rate increased.
What,
But it sounds like we can fund part of the playground.
You could do part
Yeah.
local,
And
potentially part capital reserve.
That's kind of the way I'm leaning, and
Or you could do it over 2 years.
so
Phase it.
so here's,
Just
some of it.
Do it all.
it.
Just do it all.
You could, I was
could you
thinking
do it
about,
over 2
you,
years?
you could do, from what they were saying to me.
Yeah.
He said January 1st is going to be a price increase, so it must have just happened the other day, and additionally, there's likely gonna be one middle of the summer too. So,
Price hike?
yeah, so it just,
we're only allowed to raise the budget by 10%. We don't-
Per pupil cost, right, yeah, which is
Which we don't-
essentially your budget.
Right, but we don't wanna do that. This year, it feels like we're there, like we're stuck here because of the way costs have worked out. I don't know what we're gonna look like next year, but if we take the playground, which was 250,
yeah, somewhere between two, it's like 255-ish.
then we're essentially lowering our budget by that
You
amount.
are.
Yeah.
Which
Is not good in the long run.
is not good, like, I mean, it is and it isn't, it's like,
Yeah. Well,
it could hurt us in
Right,
the long run.
What's the point of the rule?
is to keep budgets
Under control.
under control.
But that's our job.
So you think.
I mean, it's the only thing we do,
That's the only thing we got, have control over something.
and policy.
Yeah.
But if we get it to like 9.9999999%, we're still in.
You're benefiting, yeah. you're
So
benefiting
I
from
feel
that.
like we have to get as close to that number as humanly possible, because then that way we can still have all the things that we want. And,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it seems like, in my mind, it sounds like we're just fundraising now for $90,000 of
Put in the capital reserve that we, say 100,000, like, put in a contribution of 100,000 from the capital reserve, 150 from the budget, and we can spend up to 100,000, but if we can fundraise, then we keep it.
I don't know, how much is in the, I feel like there's, wasn't that much in the.
Yeah, it's,
300,
343, 609.
So, we can do,
But if you do that, if you take money and if you put some of the surplus into the capital reserve, you're gonna have to decrease the budget.
yeah, no, I'm not talking about I'm talking about asking the voters for
reserve.
100,000
Use
out of the
it. Got
capital
it.
reserve, which
Got it.
brings us down by more than 90.
It gives us a $10,000 buffer.
yeah.
And kind of, and maybe
Oh,
writing
getting the
the,
90,000.
Writing
that,
the language that says
language
up to.
up to this much, but not to exceed
So
or
if you
something.
get a grant, then you don't have to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And then
maybe
we
that's it.
present and hope that we get we present to the taxpayers that, you know, we're really trying hard to get a grant, but we don't.
And I think we can do fundraising options, like.
What's the case you make to the town for the new playground?
to use that are literally roped off with caution tape. And additionally, it's not accessible for 100% of our students. And right now, our students are not able because of, it's not safe enough for them to be able, I guess not, safe is not the right word, but they're too.
Not age appropriate. It's not
Yeah,
age
it's not age appropriate, but definitely a lot of it
So this
comes
would
down
be
to-
designed for up to 8th graders.
Yeah, correct. And it would be accessible for 100% of our student population, which it is currently not.
Great.
And I think the idea is also that we create another location within the town that people wanna spend time at.
Yeah.
And I think that's got value.
It needs to be because like the playground by the rec center is also getting kind of old and.
It's about 25, and the best guess that I could get was 25 years. That was from
It's
John Samuel, who's been here that long. His best guess was 25, and
it's older
the
than that.
playground experts said right about that same age as well.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I just, 15 years out as a family.
I guess my big question is like staffing wise, do we have everything we need? Like I don't wanna see anything staffing wise cut in the expense of a playground. Like that's.
Yeah.
Cause I know that was.
Staffing wise, we are good.
I know.
For some reason, you guys made it a lot
I know.
easier between last meeting and this.
You get, for an elementary student, it's 1, right? If you're a free and reduced student, you count as 2 students. If you're an ELL, you count as 3. Don't quote me on those weights exactly, but so your population ends up being a lot greater than the actual number in your building based on the weights. So when you're dividing it out, your per pupil cost is less.
Is it
I think this is a recognition of what we've been saying our students need for a long time.
That we are.
That we have these needs, and this is what we need to run a school, and the state seems to finally agree.
Yeah, some of it, there's a rural component. Your rural school, you get something, I don't know exactly what, but it's,
Difference between elementary school kids and middle school kids?
no, but there's in high school and tech ed, they're different weights. So.
I
Yeah,
don't know, that's really encouraging compared to the last.
I know, last meeting I was
Yeah.
at.
So then
Are we
add in-
still waiting for a result?
We're waiting for the CLA, which is the common level
Before
of
we can actually
appraisal.
look at real numbers.
Before he has to have that number to plug into the whole tax worksheet to get the tax rate. So it was supposed to come by January 1, and
Very well,
Yeah.
we won't make that one either.
so he should, I mean, he anticipates that, I mean, it usually goes to you and the town, Martin.
Man.
I forget his name, that's what Ed shared with me. He usually gets it from the town manager or from Nikki, but he could be mistaken about that, maybe it just comes
Okay,
from
I
the
don't
town.
have
So,
anything.
the easiest thing we could do to like nix the 90,000 is to take like 100,000 out of the playground. Put that as a special article for taking
Yeah,
that out of the
that's
reserve.
interesting.
Yeah, that's, and that would do it.
Okay, continue to look for grants.
Yes.
Not a big one, I mean, we've gotten some big grants, but not,
It's really the grants.
yeah.
And fundraising campaigns take a lot of time and effort.
Yes, somebody has to take it on.
Somebody has to organize it.
Yeah. And honestly, like, a wreath sale isn't gonna buy us a playground.
No,
It's gonna get snacks
No,
for
but you got
teacher
some,
appreciation.
I think there are plenty of people in this town who've got, shall we say, big wallets that I'm sure would be happy to donate money or put it in there to and put a little plaque on the side.
Yeah, maybe that's something I could talk, because I just don't know the logistics, and Ed might know, or if we could put something like that together just to make sure that we do it in the correct way. I'm sure Ed would know how to do that.
Yeah, it would just be a letter to get all residents of the town asking for donations.
Yeah.
And he'd have to put the
And
money
thinking
somewhere.
about timing of that, as we're coming up on the budget vote, but we can plan on, I can talk to Ed about it, but trying to.
I mean, it can be an after the budget passes and
Yeah.
people.
Do we, how much do some of those grants cover? What?
It's hard to know, the one I applied for from the state of Vermont, I think I had said 50,000, but I don't know if we'll get that one. There is another one coming our way this month, but I don't know how much that one is going to be yet until it arrives. We've gotten a $1,000 grant, which is a start in the right direction. It's a start, yep.
Yep.
And we'll have whatever the amount is of this other one that's coming in the next couple weeks.
Okay.
Just need 10 million.
Yeah.
Yep, here and there.
Oh, there's the baby.
Aw,
Oh,
we
dude.
see the baby. Show us the baby. Aw, bring the baby over.
I know. Yeah, he's awake. We're still trying to make it to the 30 days without a fever. Avoid that.
That's a cute kid.
Okay, that's the most awake I've seen him.
Look at all those, yeah, he's just looking.
Oh, okay, we got totally sidetracked.
Yeah, this kid gets about 47 kisses an hour, I'd say.
How could he not get a fever?
You might have to put your whole family in a bubble to avoid that fever.
I know. I'm too desperate for everybody to go back to school.
Okay. Well, so it sounds like we're all kind of in the same direction. We know the CLA is gonna be horrific, but I think the whole state is horrific.
What does horrific mean? Like, what's your definition
I mean,
of horrific?
So,
It
do
dropped
you know what the
last year.
CLA does?
I think so.
Okay, so the more the CLA is above, one means that everybody's properties
Or it should
are
be.
worth what what
What
this
they say
town
they are.
says they
Yeah.
are. And so because property values have skyrocketed since 2020, and they've even come down a little bit, but they're still like way
They're
higher
still
than they
high.
were, off. So RCLA, I'm making up numbers right now, but RCLA may say that our, and I can't remember which direction it is, over one.
I think you want it, yeah, I think yours is around 80.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
88.
so like, our houses are 80%, we're listing it at like 80% of the value of what a house really is. So like $100,000 house, we're saying that it's worth 80,000, where it's really worth 100,000. So then what the state does is that, oh, wait, we need to get you to one, so we're gonna bump you up by this huge percentage to get every community in the state is paying at that new adjusted level. That makes sense? So that's what we're waiting on that number, but my assumption is the community has to chip in. So the state is almost trying to get to a point where every house that's worth $250,000 is paying the same amount into the education
tax,
fund.
yeah.
And so if they would have to bump us up by a certain amount to get to that point that everybody's paying in fairly. But I think if the entire state is,
We're at 81.
so like, yeah,
Zero equals
81.
zero.
but I think like, I don't know of anybody that's, I mean, you would have had to have done an appraisal.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, I think, yeah, and most of the towns in the state need to be reappraised.
yeah,
And it's,
so what I was saying is that like, a few years ago, we were at one, or like, we were actually at like
You were
1.05,
close, yeah.
which was beautiful. So like, we were spot
The
on.
moment we assessed all
When
the
we did the
houses.
list, last listing.
Yeah, and even before then, like, yeah, we were not that far off. We were never this far off. So then, like, a town, I think Weathersfield at one point was like 0.78. So we were at one, and most of the rest of the state was at a reasonably good time, like a good level. But then because they were so low, then they have a huge catch up to make. But if the entire state is at that level, it doesn't.
It kind of is a wash.
Yeah.
I would assume it.
Well, it won't look like a wash because it'll make our, like, it's gonna be a huge multiplier. But
Well, there's one pot of money, right?
I think, so I guess what I'm saying is that it'll look like a huge multiplier when we get the numbers from Ed.
should already taken that hit.
Yeah. And because the entire state is dealing with that hit, it hasn't hit us. It'll look ugly on the paperwork,
But either way, your tax rate is capped at 5% if you stay under the 10%.
Christine Ward is supposed to make sure that it's
Under
under
10%, yeah. So Ed and I, on the 17th, can bring back a budget that is under 10%. Definitely with one that is a combination of some right around 100,000, do 100,000 from capital reserve. Which would get us under that, assuming it would get us under the 10%.
Yeah. And that seems, I mean, that seems like a pretty lofty but not unreasonable goal for fundraising.
Yeah.
Oh, 90?
No, well, the 100,000, not fund, but like grants, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No problem.
But yeah.
That's no problem.
Colleen, you're gonna take a piece of dark chocolate out of there and throw it at
We'll bring it to you.
I don't wanna touch it.
Throwing it.
Is that why you're sitting so far away?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Happening over there.
So it is Christine the 17th, right? Wednesday the
17th, yep,
Yeah,
the
okay.
17th, just the budget presentation.
Yeah, so we need to set an extra meeting for the 17th.
You already
I
said
put,
something you
I put
want.
a hold in your calendar.
No, but we have to do it
We gotta-
formally.
like,
Lori will send out the real.
I'm in.
Okay, so, so we need to set an additional meeting on the 17th. Does that day work for most people?
Yes.
We'll
Yeah, as
need
far as I
to,
know.
we'll need to approve a budget that night because the, town report, we need to get the information to the town by the 18th.
Yeah.
So,
By the 18th.
by the 18th, we checked today. So,
I got some homework to do. Hannah, does the 17th work for you? You can give me a thumbs up.
Yep, works for me.
Okay, awesome. And can I just say, I'm so impressed that you're here with
Is it more budgets?
what?
It's
Like,
all, it's all budget.
It's all, you won't have 14 days old, and you're
It's
here.
2 weeks today.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
I'm
2
not
weeks
there,
old.
but I'm,
But you're
here.
here, like, you're, I'm just totally
It's the
impressed.
third child. Does it even exist? I don't know. You know?
17th.
Yeah, unanimous consent, everybody
Yeah.
could just say aye.
Aye.
So everybody good with having a meeting on the 17th?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, good, we have a meeting on the 17th.
Usually the Monday or Tuesday right after the break. It's typically when we've had it.
Oh, that's right,
I prefer not Tuesday night. I do SAT prep that night, I'm sorry.
That's our normal school board meeting night.
I know, but it's like the one.
It's not in the rotation, the week rotation, right?
Can't remember, I feel like there's rules to it.
Christine, on the 26th.
26.
There's an SU meeting.
There is an SU board meeting on the meeting at the town, at Davie Hall.
It is.
Oh.
And also, Monday the 26th is Katie Burke's birthday as well, if you want to know.
I won't, I'm out of town that whole week.
Oh.
How would you make this meeting more exciting for people to actually show up? Because like, last year was my first year of it, and I wouldn't say I was like super impressed with the amount of people that came, because I think they were
That was-
welcome too.
Pretty good turnout.
Is that a good turnout?
That was a good
Average
turnout.
I mean, there's usually a couple of people.
I mean, okay, I mean,
A lot of people watch it.
People do, I get a lot of comments of people watching it,
Oh, great.
especially that meeting. People, I think, partially after COVID, people actually are like, oh, I gotta go watch the school meeting. And so they actually do
okay.
go back and watch it. And there's a lot of people that feel like they don't need to be there in person because they're just gonna get all the information afterwards.
Got it.
So I would say more people watch that meeting than watch this meeting.
I'm in.
Heather, if Tuesdays don't work, what about Wednesday the 28th?
I think, does it have to be more than
does
7
it have to be-
days?
I think it has to be 7 days prior to the
Yeah.
town meeting, which is March.
So I'm
Okay.
inclined, oh yeah, we have to have a
How many
quorum.
days?
We don't have Beth and we don't have Heather.
If you do,
It's 7 days prior to the
the actual,
vote, which is the 5th.
so 7 days or work days? Like just days?
I think it's 7 days.
Is that a town of Hartland?
1,
No, I
2, 3,
think it's a-
4,
I
5,
think so.
6. That
Is
is
it?
this.
Well, wait a minute.
Because it,
That was something,
What is the town? They do their presentation on voting day.
yeah, because they
Which
do
is
it
the
on the
5th.
floor.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was something that we got yelled at for one year.
Well, they yell at you for 6 days, because if they wouldn't yell at you.
We got yelled at for having it
At the wrong time,
6:30
6 o'clock instead of 7, yeah.
Oh, I lied, I forgot, it's wrong break. I'm gone in April.
Oh,
That's how much I'm looking forward to.
Where are you going?
Ready to go.
I'm chaperoning a 2-week trip to the Southwest.
I want to go.
Without my own family.
of your own family?
Without my own.
Without.
Oh.
That sounds like the best thing ever.
It's awesome.
Okay,
Yeah, so, sorry.
okay, so you'll be here. So, Heather, I'm inclined to hold it,
Okay, you hold it whatever you want.
because we can't do it, we have the SU meeting on the Monday.
We do.
And then,
It's 7 o'clock. We have to keep it at 7 o'clock, I believe.
okay, so I think that, what day was that again?
Tuesday, February 27th.
Maybe I can come late.
Yeah. Okay, 7 PM.
Do you want it to be all in person or hybrid?
last year we did a hybrid, didn't we?
I think it was hybrid.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we
hybrid.
We wanted to try to get anybody.
Okay. Yeah, we did, it was hybrid, because we did
Yeah.
questions from.
And we
And it started
recorded.
at like 7, right? It
Yeah.
was later.
Yeah.
7.
Hybrid for the people,
Yes.
but not for us.
Right,
Yes.
in
and that's
person
one
for
of
us.
those
Yeah, I don't,
Hybrid.
They're kind of interesting,
Um,
if you're interested.
Okay, I'll just have Lori get it.
And
Mainly,
should I reach out
she
to
does all the
Matt?
talking.
Should Nikki, who reaches out to Matt? I don't remember from last year.
To do,
He
was
moderated it.
The school meeting?
was he elected at the last meeting? So it'd be Matt.
Maybe I will.
Also to
Someone usually they see me drive.
Do you want me to reach out to them?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
to Martin,
Okay.
let him know the date, time.
Yep.
And who's reaching out to Matt? Are you reaching out to Matt or do you want Lindsay
I'm
to?
doing it
You
right
are,
now.
Okay, so then I'll just reach out to Martin to reserve the,
And make sure they have all the
Reserve
technology necessary.
yep.
Okay.
Are we doing the 27th?
We'll just make this tentative and
Okay.
fix it at the next
Let me
meeting.
know if,
Does he have a vice moderator?
An assistant moderator. A backup
one of his
moderator.
kids
Backup.
would be great. Dave would be great, right?
Okay, hold on,
It took me a long time to figure out that was Sarah's. I was like, what?
Um,
You see, what's going on?
okay, so this is a more formal thing, I'll do a roll call on this. So, we're voting for the school budget informational meeting to be Tuesday, February 27th at 7 PM at Damon Hall, and a hybrid for townspeople, but in person for the board.
So moved.
Second.
So that was moved by Heather and seconded by
No,
Beth.
that was by Colleen, but we sound exactly
Oh.
the same.
Oh, Colleen. Yeah, Colleen, you need to get your name in here as much
We're
as you
literally
can.
like the same.
We have a couple of
Movements in.
chances,
I
right?
know, yeah. Hannah,
Aye.
Colleen,
Aye.
Heather,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Nikki, I. Okay, we are gonna move forward with that.
Okay.
If it doesn't work, we'll bring that up at the next meeting.
Okay. So you want to I'll have Lori get it going and we can change it if needed.
So we need to set the next agenda.
Well, the 17th is just.
The 17th is
budget.
just a budget meeting.
February should be the run-through of the budget presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so the February meeting,
Maybe a little update on winter activities.
okay, so
Yep.
budget,
Update on what?
run
Winter
through,
activities.
Winter activities.
winter activities.
No. Wait, I don't have anything. You must have something playing. Yeah.
What else?
Like a cute little voice.
I feel like there's more and it's just not coming to me.
Maybe.
Make sure to turn it.
I think the budget run-through will take a while.
take a
Right.
while.
Yeah,
We have to, oh no, we're voting on the budget on the 17th.
yeah. We will have a student update. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. And, okay, so I think,
Did we just finish the meeting?
I think we might have, we don't need an executive session, right? Okay, so all those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Oh wait, I guess I needed to move it.